Alrighty then. Well, we're going to get this 4 9-inch thrown in some paint tonight. And we already did a whole bunch of prep work on it. And the prep work consisted of a red Scotch-Brite pad, a blue Scotch-Brite pad, and we scuffed all of that up on a 4-inch grinder on the whole entire housing right here. And got all the parts and pieces, the axles, the link bars, the other link bars, the firewall, and you notice that is a different color primer. That is a etching primer for bare aluminum that's on there, and the rest of it is some boat epoxy primer that's on here. Why? Well, because I had it. Then it works awesome. I've had really good luck with it. But before we get to the painting part, super awesome tip for you guys doing any kind of restoration work or any kind of painting or anything like that. Putting in a hardener in the regular Rust-Oleum paint. This Rust-Oleum you just get from Menards or Home Depot or your local building supply stuff. Fairly cheap. It's just an enamel. But if you paint in the garage in the wintertime, like we're doing right here, we got kind of a makeshift paint booth set up right here. And the exhaust is going out of our dust collector that would normally be hooked into all our dust creating stuff that's in the wall right here. So we unplugged all that to get the exhaust fumes out of here. And if you paint in the garage with a regular Rust-Oleum, it will overspray everything in your garage. And I'm not exaggerating. Everything. It will overspray. So really important to make a designated painting area or something that you can draw the fumes out. And it makes it really hard. Like right now, it's 0 degrees outside, F. So it's struggling to keep it warm in here. It's 60 degrees in here right now, and the heater is cranked wide open and barely being able to keep up. So in order to draw the air out, you have to replace that with something. And when it's this cold outside, it's really a struggle to get the fumes out, to keep the heat in order to make the paint cure and everything. So what really helps, not just, I do this at all the time, not just when it's cooler like this, but adding a hardener to it. And this is a Easy Epoxy Performance Enhancer. Oh, baby, it looks like we're going to be painting all night long now. We got some performance enhancers going on. It's a hardener for epoxy or enamel paint. So it had 4 ounces per quart of mixable material. So I mix up the Rust-Oleum with acetone, about a 20% blend of acetone because it is really thick from the factory. So about a 20% does pretty good job of making it sprayable, plus the consistency of the hardener as well. And we have that all mixed up right now, and we are ready to start spraying some gloss black on here. And what that hardener does is make it gloss a lot better. It also dries a lot faster. It oversprays quite a bit less because it dries in the air and it's not so sticky for so long. And also it makes it really hard afterwards. You can wet sand it, you can buff it. So there's quite a few advantages of that. And pretty much any given, like Fleet Farm and Fleet, you can get some enamel, acrylic enamel hardener, and it works out awesome. So we're going to get this thing all sprayed up here, and pretty soon we're going to have a nice glossy brand new rear end to start assembling. Let's get it done. Oh, crazy how the little things in life can just kick your butt sometimes. So, thinking that there's a billion Ford 9-inches out there, should be super easy to find a rear differential gasket for it, right? Oh my God, the auto parts stores now just absolutely infuriate me. How little of education that they have, how little experience that they have, and the absolute lack of wanting to help you, period, is going on in the world is absolutely ridiculous. So I finally ended up buying a sheet of gasket material and cutting out a Ford 9-inch rear gasket because I want to get this thing done today. And that's all I needed was a gasket for the rear diff. And nobody had one. And I went to like 5 different auto parts stores before I finally said, you know what? Give me a sheet of gasket material and let me refrain from killing you. Let me go home and make this work. And then I got home and found out I was missing the rear, the seals for it. So I didn't have the axle seals for it for a 31 spline. I had them for a 28 and a 30 and a 42 as well, but I did not have them. Oh my goodness, it just got crazy how lack of initiation these people have, and well, whatever. So here I am trying to assemble this rear end all freaking day from a couple of parts and pieces that I'm missing, and we're going to get this thing put back together again and get it in the car, get it installed. Now we have our Chinesium brake brackets that we had bought because this is a Ford 9-inch and not an Oldsmobile rear end now. We already machined the rotors to accept the bigger diameter studs in the Oldsmobile, and now we have to retrofit the brake caliper brackets off of eBay, and we gotta see if we can make this thing work anyway. So let's get this thing done. Let's do it. Let's build something badass together. Well, sometimes things just don't go quite as planned. Planned on getting that rear end all put together last night and put in the car, but went to put the brakes on. Thought as long as doing this on the bench would be a lot easier than doing it under the car. So we went to put the brakes on, and the brake rotors didn't fit over the axle hub. So we're going to pull the axles back out of it again, got the other side done, but now we're going to come over to the lathe and use our handy dandy lathe here and turn it down so we can get these axle tubes to fit, the hubs to fit over the rotors. So let's give this a whirl. I suppose it'd probably help if we turn the phase converter on. Phase converter on. And 3, 2, 1, and go. Let's make a cut. Oh, it feels good to have a lathe working again. I've used it about 10 times in the last 2 weeks now. Just keeps coming up with more and more modifications to justify having a lathe. You notice it's got a little wobble to it? Not so worried about that. I actually chucked up the lathe on the cast axle housing part, so that's why it's wobbling like that. Not a big deal with this. It's just a clearance. We're not looking for a particular tolerance for it, so it doesn't have to be centered up. It's just going to be clearance. So that's the reason why. Otherwise, I probably still will put the center on it for the last couple of cuts, and I'll straighten everything out again. But right now, it's just clearance to show you. Oh, having a lathe again. Feels pretty darn good. Let's get this thing done. Got some paint touch up to do. It just cut the machine, the edges just cut right through the padding, and we got a little racing stripe we got to touch up yet, I guess, but there it is. There is the completed Ford 9-inch right there, ready to install into this cutlass. So it's 2 inches narrower than it was before. We got the disc brakes all set up on it now. That was not an easy deal either. So we had to machine the outer part of the axles. We had to machine the bolt heads in between here down as well, and a whole bunch of shimming and everything for the brackets to go on to. And then we had to drill out the bolt pattern in the rotors for the 1/2-inch studs and stuff as well. So not just a bolt-in deal, but pretty good. Our fixture jig worked out awesome. We got our rear end ready to go now. We're ready to put this thing in that cutlass and get this thing rocking and rolling. Ford 9-inch for the win. Not gonna break this one. She's gonna be a power-hungry rear end right there. So 355 gears in it, and no, this is 373s actually in it. 373 gears with 31 spline axles in it, 1/2-inch wheel studs, disc brakes, and we're good to go. It is fully oiled up and ready to install. And you ever put oil in these things when they're in the car, do yourself a favor, do it on the bench, because once the body is in here and everything, you can't get a bottle up in there, and you either have to pump it and squirt it in that way or pump it out. It's just a pain in the butt. So you do it when it's out of the car like this. You can fill it right up, no problem, and now it's good to go as soon as it goes in the car. And next, what are we gonna do? We got brake lines to do yet, so we got to hook up our brake lines. We got to run a steel line and a T and everything, and actually I'll do that right now before it's up in the car as well. So I forgot about that. So we'll get that brake line done, ready to hook up, and then we're gonna put this thing in the car as soon as we get done touching up our paint stripes. So here we are. Here's our rear end ready to go. Bring it on. Let's build something badass. Don't forget to like this video. Click like, throw me a comment, let me know what you think. Ring the bell for those notifications when we get a new video. We got lots more coming up, guys. A lot of cool stuff coming up. I hope you guys are enjoying the ride.